13 months ago, we left Canada with 3 kids, 3 cats, 5 backpacks, 2 carry-on, and 10 suitcases. And a 20-foot shipping container kind of followed along with us. And we moved to a third world country. Or did we? We gave up on the Canadian dream, or the nightmare as it is now, and we started a new dream. We had a belief that something better was out there, something warmer, freer, more family-oriented, less woke, less liberalism, and more grounded in reality. And that place for us is El Salvador. We thought we were coming for sunshine and freedom, but what we found was so much more. Here is how we have been during the last month in El Salvador and the cost of living here. Buenas tardes, mis amigos, y bendiciones para todos ustedes. Good afternoon, my friends, and blessings to you all. My name is Charity Hagenars, and bienvenido a mi canal if you're new here, y bienvenido de nuevo if we're already old amigos. Si no habla inglés, ve a la configuración de YouTube y selecciona pista de audio para escuchar este video en español, o presiona el botón CC para obtener subtítulos en español. If you regularly enjoy this content, please consider subscribing and hitting the like button, as it helps the algorithm get this content out to more people. And if you're interested in being part of our WhatsApp group where we discuss all things El Salvador, please send me an email at youtube@hagenars.com with your WhatsApp phone number. Also, we hang out on Google Meets every Monday night. Check the description below for the meeting link. The people and the culture. September 15th is El Salvador's Independence Day. Now, last year we spent all day in San Salvador in the hot sun, and Willem ended up getting sick, and we had to go into a restaurant, and we ended up watching most of the parade from the windows of the restaurant. So this year, we played it a little low-key and stayed home as a family. You know, the kids could have gone to school as there was a civic event at the school that day, but my kiddos really wanted to sleep in, so they did. They also had September 16th off as compensation for all the teachers who did come to school on the 15th for the civic event. So they actually had 2 days off in a row. We are not really morning people in general, which is counterculture to Salvadorians. Sometimes I don't think they sleep at all. On the day that I got my husband at the airport, I had to leave at like 4:14 in the morning, and there was so much traffic on the road, I'm thinking, nobody sleeps here. I'm pretty sure this country is like 24/7 awake, or they take shifts. Maybe there's a night shift and a day shift. Whatever it is, there's always traffic, and people are always up really early here. I don't know. Tell me how it works. Now, September 15th was very close to Charlie Kirk's death, and my family took that pretty hard. He was such a great, passionate Christian man who never compromised his beliefs and always wanted to debate people and show them the errors of their ways using the Bible as proof. Now, my kids didn't even really know who Charlie Kirk was until he died, but since then, Charlie's memory has been living in my children's heads with every video that we share in our family WhatsApp chat. So what does this have to do with the people of El Salvador, you might be asking? Well, the reason that we moved to this country is because it is predominantly Christian and has Christian morals and values that Canada has strayed away from, we'll say. And Charlie Kirk's death, I think, opened a lot of people's eyes to the evil that runs these Western countries. But we were already there. And last year was the straw that broke that camel's back for us. We moved to El Salvador to be with more like-minded people, to share Christ's love and have something in common, even though the language is not one of those things. Living in Canada, we only had a few dozen people who shared our beliefs and values, and here it's the whole nation. And many foreigners here move here for those exact same reasons. So it makes it joyful and peaceful to live here. And the people are so kind, and they greet you when you're on the streets or walk into their little tiendas. Even our neighbors are excellent. I only met the ones on the one side of us, and they speak English as well. Actually, the mom and maybe the dad too, they work for TELUS in Canada. Today I knocked on the door to ask if they had a shovel I could borrow, and the girl spoke to me in English, but had a hard time understanding me. So I kind of mimed shoveling and said pala. They didn't have one, so I started walking back home, and then the girl ran out and said if I needed one to let her know, and she would find somebody nearby that I could borrow one from. I mean, no one in Canada does that. Like no one. Don't fool yourself, Canadians. No one is that nice there. And it was so sweet and touching to have her do that. And I have spent so much time at Freyand that certain people recognize me and Now I don't even have to say what my company name is when they're doing up the receipt. The clerk remembers me and he just puts that under my company's name. Like, I've only been doing this for maybe 6 weeks since we moved here and started going there to buy all the paint and everything we needed. And in Canada, I'd gone to like Home Depot and Rona for years and years, and they never remembered our company name. And this guy does not even speak English. It's just so different living here. A week or so ago, we had a horrendous line for the Banco Agricola ATM machine. And there was a man in front of me who, gave up and left the line. And the lady in front of him made a comment about the man must be in a hurry. Now, she spoke in Spanish, so I'm paraphrasing here. And then she noticed I had my little hanky out and I was wiping the sweat off my face. And she said, "Oh, it's hot today," again in Spanish. And I just nodded and said, "See." And I could tell that she really wanted to talk, but I'm like searching my brain for conversation starters that I could continue on once she replied, which is the hardest part in Spanish. And then she asked, "How long have you been here?" in English. So then we were nonstop chatting until we got to the ATM. And we were about to leave to go get our groceries. She gave me her card and wrote her personal phone number on it and wanted me to text her. And her name was Alma. And that was my grandmother's name, who died 20 years ago today as I am doing this video. It is also one of my daughter's middle names. So you just don't get that in Canada. It is just so different here, and the people are friendly and amazing. Now the cost of living, the most dreaded part of this video, and I have to say this month is a doozy because I thought last month was bad, but we still had so much more stuff to get for this house. And there's going to be a little bit coming out of next month because we actually purchased stuff right on the 20th, which is the cutoff mark for this video. So here we go. From August 20th to September 19th, we have our rent. That's $850. That'll be like that forever. We have to pay the security separately for the security guards in the complex. That's $35. Our electricity came in at $129.07. I just got the one for this coming month. It's a little higher. We're going to try to work on that. We did a lot of stuff in the rooms during the daytime, unpacking and stuff, so we wouldn't necessarily have the air conditioning on all the time in the bedroom normally, but when you're in there unpacking and doing stuff, we did. So there we go. Also, because we can't really leave the windows open unless we're like here all day, because the moment it starts raining, the rain comes in. So once it's not rainy season, leaving the windows open and going out for the day and come back, it's not so stifling in the house, or at least not upstairs. The downstairs is fine. It's just the upstairs, and that's why there's air conditioning. But I have a window here that opens. I got a window there that does not open, and there's two in the bedroom. So having those three windows open and the door open here, there'll be a nice cross breeze, as long as it's not going to rain, because the moment it rains, everything gets wet. So that's the thing. It's rainy season right now. It'll soon come to an end, and then we won't have to worry so much about it. Now for our water, it's $2.39. Our drinking water, I always approximate about $62. I am looking into getting a filter for when we put our new sink in, and I'm just trying to figure out if it's the best idea. Maybe somebody with experience can tell me this, because somebody else had mentioned, oh, they got it, but then the water didn't taste good, and they're really expensive to install. And then I don't know if you pay yearly for annual maintenance or if it's every month or something. But if it doesn't taste good, I mean, that'd be such a waste of money. So maybe somebody can give me some feedback if they've used a certain company and how the water tastes and that kind of thing. I'd love to have some feedback on that. So please write that in the comments. Now for cooking gas, I didn't have to buy another tank this month. Actually, I do a lot of my cooking in my Instant Pots because it's just less heat from the stove, and I can do like a whole one-pot meal, and then I just pop the Instant Pot out. I have a silicone lid for it, throw it in the fridge for the leftovers. It's like really super convenient. But if you need to use the oven, obviously we've got to use the stove, or we use our toaster oven too. So less cooking gas was used this month, and we have a spare tank right now that's full. So we're going to not need any probably till November. Now the internet is $32.98. I may be able to get a cheaper plan coming October, because they told me when we changed our address, because the landlords also have Tigo and they have a cheaper plan than us. And they said in October I should be able to kind of renew or something, because it went on for 6 months and then it auto renewed again for 6 months. So I couldn't change it until that's done, which is apparently October. So I'm going to look into maybe getting a cheaper plan, but the same amount of data. So we'll see how that works out. Now for cell phones, it was $51 this month. It was $12 for Willem, Annika, and GJ, and $15 for my monthly plan. Groceries wasn't too bad. It was $7.93.76, and that included one pretty good sized PriceSmart trip. Now, not everything we buy at PriceSmart is actually food. That's including toilet paper and paper towel and cat litter and this kind of stuff. And my cat food. I don't have the cat food under pets separately because I just use that receipt from PriceSmart to figure this part of the video out. So that's more than just food. It's just consumables, right? The stuff you would find at PriceSmart. And we had a couple trips to Maxi Spensa and my fruit and veggies from a lady right here in our community, actually. So for school, that's the busing, that's $67.50. And eating out is $302.40, which actually isn't bad considering, I'm going to say this, considering almost, I'd say, 4 to 5 times a week, we're getting some takeout lunches from the lady in our complex who makes them. They're $3.50 a lunch, so sometimes I'm getting 4 of them, or sometimes I'm getting 5 if it's a Monday and our housekeeper's here as well. So we've been doing that a lot because I have to give our painter and the housekeeper lunch, and I don't always have leftovers from the night before or whatnot, right? Right now the place is still a construction zone, so I don't always want to get in make a mess in the kitchen because there's just too many other things to do. So that's actually not bad considering it's been like dinners as well from Little Caesars or China Walk or whatever, Pollo Campero. Also Layla here in our community feeding me lunch basically since we moved here in August. So I think I made her business. She even actually catered our get together we had around my birthday, which I'll talk about that in a bit. Now for entertainment, that's $65.10. That's like my Amazon Prime and my Netflix. My mom, dad, and I, we all share the account. So my dad likes to watch TV. So we have, subscriptions coming out of there. Household goods. Now this one, I know this is going to be like extreme, but I'll explain. It's $4,328.13. Now we had to buy a lot of new things when we came here. It's a bigger house. We needed different furniture, right? So let me break it down for you. I know it looks extreme. Like people are like, oh my gosh, that's more than a monthly budget for a family of Salvadorians living here. That's like 10 families of Salvadorians living here. I know, I understand. However, let me break this down. These 3 cupboards behind me and the 6 drawer units that go with them, that's from a company called Cubas, C-U-B-A-S. That was $1,203 all by itself. So already we're knocking that budget down to like $3,100 with what's left, right? I told you guys I got these loft beds for Annika and Lawrence. I had to pay half down last month and the other half came out this month, which was $305. And then we also had to spend $480 on the labor for the painter to do the work. And I don't know how many hundreds of dollars I spent on paint. After that first initial one was $700 and something. I feel like I've almost spent another $700. I don't know. I didn't break up the receipts. But there's a lot of like Freund and Vidri's receipts that are part of this monthly budget. So a lot of that was paint or painting supplies or tape. I went through a lot of tape, plaster for the walls, cement. We did some tile work, just different things like that. I mean, those add up really quick. Also, my husband has some bookshelves he made downstairs, and we had to buy the little upright supports, the little brackets for the shelves. We got 4 sheets of plywood. We also made shelves for our laundry room. So, all these things add up together, and, those sheets of plywood are $46 a sheet. So that's already $200 basically of plywood, and not to mention all the supports for the shelves. Then there's about $90 for the housekeeper because she had September 15th off. And our gardener, I think, came just one time. That's $15. I got a couple of lawn chairs delivered for outside. They're $40 each, and then there was delivery, so it was $88 for those. And I thought, well, if I have lawn chairs, I need a little table. So that was $37 for the table, plus a couple extra bucks, I think, for the delivery. And, also some screws and different things to put the shelves in the wall. My husband got a skill saw because that's one tool we didn't bring yet. It's still in Canada, is the skill saw. And it makes cutting plywood much easier than the jigsaw we did have. So that didn't work out as well. So we got a skill saw. We also bought a ceiling fan for downstairs. We're still trying to figure out how to install because I don't know if you know about Salvadorian construction, but the standards here for installing things not the same as in North America. And when we took the light down in the living room to put the fan up, there's no octagon box in there attached to anything that looks like support. It was just the wires hanging down from somewhere in the ceiling. And there was a piece of wood underneath the drywall, and the lamp was up here, and the drywall's in the middle, and the lamp is just screwed through the drywall to the little piece of wood. It wasn't very big at all. So that obviously can't support a ceiling fan, so it's still in the box. We have not figured out how to get it up there yet. My husband's probably got to cut a bigger hole in the drywall, go up further to the true ceiling, not the drywall ceiling, but the true metal support up there, and attach something there that the fan can hang off of without, falling down on us. So we got that light fixture. I got one for the kitchen. I bought one for the dining room, 2 for downstairs in the hallway, and then 2 for our bedroom. So, these things add up. These are like a one-time cost, and all these things, we're going to keep all the original ones. So when we do move out, we'll just take them with us. Maybe not the ceiling fan. I don't know. That might be too complicated. We'll see how that one turns out. But, those things add up. We bought a new shower head for our bathroom and Temu orders. And like I said, every time we go to the hardware store, I swear we have, a couple $100 every time we go. Just everything you need to, do construction in your home, basically. And on next month's receipts, I have an epic trip we did to EPA. and that included other things that I have, but it's not included this month. So that's at least another $1,000 there, beds and sinks and stuff. So next month won't be normal yet either. I was hoping for October, but that was exactly on September 20th, so it didn't get included here. So next month is still going to be a little high, but the next month we should have everything done here. The construction will be done, the painting will be done. Everything will be just living life. No more things. I gotta unpack 1,000 more boxes, but still, soon we'll just be living life here. Now, transportation, that's $153.99. That actually, $80 and some cents of that is for the registration of both our vehicles, because my birthday came and went, and on your birthday you got to renew the registration. So they're like $35 each, and then the new one had the Experticia done because it had its engine replaced. We had to pay for that little bit there. But and then there's just fuel on top of that. So $80 of that is those registrations, and the rest is just fuel. And also part of that I forgot was the day on my birthday when the battery was dead in my car and Stan had the van, I couldn't take Willem to school, so I had to send him in an Uber. So I filled my little Uber Cash or whatever it's called. I filled that with $15 so that he can get back and forth to school, because I didn't know if he's going to need a ride home or if Stan was able to pick him up. So I put a little bit there too, just so we'd have that in case of emergencies. Now medical is just $40. That's Willem's regular monthly braces checkup. I didn't have to buy any medication. I will next month because that's good for 2 months. Pets is a little high because, and it's not including pet food, like I said, that's with the Price Smart one. It's $221. That's because I had 2 sick cats. I have my little kitten. He had some pain in his abdomen. We didn't know what was wrong. Another cat had, like, her claw was really mangled up. I've experienced vets 3 different ways now, Salvador, so far. Once was Chivo Pets. Very inexpensive. You just got to wait in line. It's basically 25 cents in Bitcoin for every service. So if you're going to do surgery, maybe there's like 7 services out of that. It's going to cost you like a few dollars, right? That's not expensive. So there's that. You got to wait in line, and you don't have to do that. There's other options. The other option, I took my cats to get fixed at the Cat Home Motel. And that place was $30 to get them spayed or neutered, or you could pay an extra $6 and you can get some medication. I did that for the first 3, but none of them like taking medication, so we only did it like a day or 2, like antibiotics and painkillers. They don't like that. So I still had some left over, which was good because I needed it for this cat with the sore paw. Now my kitten was a little bit too small weight-wise to take that medication, so this actually includes medication as well as the vets coming to the house. That was another one. This is called Vet on the Road. When I met at the Bitcoin Farmers Market, I did a little interview with her. They were doing some fundraising for stray dogs, so I like to be able to support them too. So they come to the house, they looked over these 2 cats, they gave them some medication right then and there, like needles of analgesics and antibiotics. And then they dewormed 8 of my 9 cats because we couldn't find one of them. And then they also came back a day or 2 later with medicine. So that was like $60 was for the medicine all by itself. So that's why that one was $221. So there's many options for vet care here. Either, to go to Chivo, it's very inexpensive, great if you don't have a lot of money. I mean, if you're local here and you're trying to help out all these stray dogs and cats, that's a great option. Or if you have a little bit more money and you just want to have some convenience, you can go and get them spayed and neutered. I love the Cat Home Hotel because you take them there the night before, so when the traffic's not so bad, you gotta have them there by 11, and then they spend the night there. And because they have to be fasting overnight, and I was taking 3 of my older kittens when the mama was still nursing all the other kittens, I didn't want to take the food away all night from the mama. So this way they get to fast there in a controlled environment, and then they have their surgery the next morning, and then you go get them around 3 o'clock, which is usually not too bad getting to San Salvador. If you leave around 2, it's actually really good to get to San Salvador in 35 minutes. So, and what I did that last time when I took Black Beauty, I actually picked her up on Sunday, which is even better for traffic. So that way is a bit easier. You can control your time better that way. And then if you want optimal healthcare, you have them come right to your home. So I recommend anyone that has pets to look around the different services here, because there are many. I mean, there's other veterinary clinics here in Lourdes. They're all over. And there's many places to pick up medication. I just having a hard time finding the specific ones they wanted me to get. That's why they actually bought them to me. They charged me for delivery, which is a little bit high, but the medication, I use that, and my cats got better. So win-win. I get to support them, and my cats get better. So there we go. So all this for the grand total of $7,134.32. It's a lot. Now, as I said in a video a couple weeks ago, you don't have to spend that much money here. You don't have to buy these cupboards. You don't have to paint your rental. You don't have to buy light fixtures. I just think we're going to stay here a really long time because we really hate moving. And after this last move, I'm like, that's it. Who knows? We could end up buying the house. I have no idea what's going to happen. But we're going to be here a really long time. I'm thinking 10, 15 years, something like that. So anyway, you don't have to live like that. And you don't have to rent a house that's got 4 bedrooms. If you don't have all the people in your family that we do, because we're still trying to maybe get my husband's father here to stay with us. That's why we wanted to have the guest room, or for when we have people come visit, like my parents or our friends from Canada or people doing scouting trips. They're like talking about coming for a couple weeks and checking things out. I'm like, oh, well, we have a guest room. You can stay here a couple of nights, get to talk with us about our experience and see how we live and see the community and see what else Salvador has to offer you, right? But you don't have to spend that much money on rent. You don't have to spend that much money on furniture. You don't have to spend that much money. You don't have to go to PriceSmart. PriceSmart has expensive stuff. I admit it. But there are things there that are hard to get somewhere else, and they're the creature comforts that my family sometimes misses from Canada. Like Nutella in a 3-kilogram bucket. Well, it's fake Nutella. It's not real Nutella, but it's hazelnut spread. And those gigantic mammoth muffins, we would call them at Costco. They like getting those. So we buy like the big thing. I think it's like 30 in there. And we put them all in individual Ziploc bags, and we just put them in the freezer. So if they want a muffin, just take it out of the freezer. That way I don't have to like eat them all quickly or have the ants come and eat them, because ants are another issue when you have anything sweet out on the counters in El Salvador. You want to make sure it's in the fridge or the freezer. So we take those muffins, individually wrap them in Ziploc bags, throw them in the freezer, and then you got about, have a muffin a day between 5 of us. I don't know, it seems to only last about 3 or 4 days. But anyway, that's just my family. I don't know. Have you ever raised 2 teenage boys? Tell me how that experience was with you and your grocery bill. Now, I did tell you that this month was not going to be light on the expenses, but even it surprised me a little bit. So my husband and I were talking about, okay, where did all the money go? It went so fast. But yeah, it does add up. All those trips to the hardware store really do add up. So we are going to try to take it easy. Like I said, the coming month has our EPA stuff, which included a bunch of other things we got. I'll explain next month, I guess. But I don't think we're going to have a lot more household stuff. Like I had like a new bedspread for Annika. That I got from Temu, so that was in this order. So yeah, these are just things you only buy once every year or something like that. And paint here is not cheap. I have to say, paint is not cheap, or at least the paint I got was not cheap. And maybe try a different store, try a different product of if you want to use Sherwin-Williams like I did, you don't have to buy super paint. I mean, there are other options. But once I got into the one part of it, then I had to go get a gallon more of this and a gallon more of that. Well, it had to be the same stuff, obviously, at that point. One thing I do have to say about painting a concrete house is that it uses up a lot more paint than I actually anticipated. Also, the high ceilings didn't help with my calculations in my mind, but I don't know if it absorbed more of it or because we had to peel off some of the other paint that was there that had gotten wet. If then the more exposed wall, although we put plaster on it, if that it actually absorbed more than if you're just painting over paint. So it did use a lot more paint than I anticipated, but it's pretty much done. He's doing a couple of patch ups here and there on some places on some of the ceilings because we didn't paint this whole ceiling, but there were some things that had to be patched up. So he's doing those. Right now we're pretty much done. I think he will be finished by tomorrow, actually. So that'll be a huge savings for next month. Realistically, we could probably live here easily for $2,500 for the 5 of us, still live with a similar lifestyle that we have, where maybe we eat out once a week or go to Termos del Rio or other entertainment things every now and again. I think $2,500 would be very manageable. Once you kind of get settled, that was the thing, buying furniture and stuff in a new place, those are just one-time costs. So once those are done, then it's smooth sailing. The food. Well, we have still been eating out a lot, like I said, because we needed to give lunch to the painter and the housekeeper. And like I said, I don't always have leftovers the night before. It depends what I've made for dinner or what I've gotten my kids to make for dinner, because Willem was very helpful in helping us make things like hamburgers and stuff that we get from PriceSmart. So like I said, Layla in our neighborhood, she makes lunches every day, pretty much every day, and they're $3.50 each. So we either get 4 or 5, depending on the day usually. For my birthday, I told you she helped to cater that event. I don't really have a big expense in here for that because everyone just kind of pitched in. They all kind of went towards that. But it was 20 lunches I got her to bring for that. And she brought them in like big trays instead of individual lunches. So we had chicken and we had beef and we had rice. And she usually has vegetable salad or macaroni salad, which I love macaroni salad. So I have really been enjoying her Salvadorian cooking all this time. When we no longer have to worry about having lunches here for anyone working here, then it's definitely going to help us out with cutting down our eating out budget. And also once the construction is kind of done, I'll be doing more home cooking, just trying to get the boxes unpacked. I still have, my spices are still packed away. Like I got like a handful out and the rest are still in a box. So, next month will be better, right? I keep saying that. Next month will be better. But really, we're coming to the end of the construction phase here. So I think next month will be a lot better. So Layla makes, like I said, chicken or beef, and I've had them done up like all kinds of different ways. So really, I've been having the Salvadorian food now for like 2 months, and I love it. There's nothing that she makes I don't like, except I'd say she does put tortillas with all the meals, which is very Salvadorian. I don't care much for tortillas because I have issues eating bread, so I don't eat a lot of those. I store them up in like a Ziploc bag, and when I got a big bag full, I give them to the housekeeper, or I give them to the painter to take home, and they enjoy them, so I give them to somebody who enjoys them. And there's a lady here who makes pupusas or papusitas. They're not really that much smaller, to be honest. I actually like them. My husband's got issues with certain flavors in there. We're not really sure of the exact ones that he doesn't like, but I've had both rice and corn pupusas made by her, and I thought they're really good. Now, one thing I tried this month that I hadn't done before, because I heard about it, but I just hadn't get around to it, was to use the online Maxi Despensa grocery delivery service. Now, you can pretty much get anything delivered here in El Salvador, as I learned. Like, seriously, like, I don't know how much stuff I got delivered from Facebook Marketplace, but Maxi Despensa also does delivery, and I think it's free if it's over $40. Mine was $70, so I didn't pay anything for it. Also, they're literally just right beside us. And the guy brought them over, and I said I'd pay with my debit card. So he brought the machine so I could pay with my debit card. You could have paid with debit or credit. You could have paid online, debit or credit also, or pay with cash. They take anything here. And like I said, I order so much stuff from Facebook Marketplace, including these cupboards behind me. That Cubas, that was actually like a Facebook ad, and I paid with cash. I didn't pay online in advance or anything. They brought them to the door, and I gave them the $1,203 in cash. They make it really convenient here. You don't have to have a credit card. You don't have to worry about that kind of stuff. It's really amazing. And again, if you don't want to do takeout, you can just get your groceries delivered so you can do the home cooking. So as far as food goes, there's many options you could do with food as well. We still love pollo con perro. With the Maxi Despensa delivery, I got to mention also you can pick your delivery window. So I picked like the next day between this hour and this hour because I knew I'd be home at that time. So that made it really convenient. And again, we'll probably be using that a little bit more just to save some time and then have the groceries delivered and, just put everything away and then you can start cooking. Also, it saves on dealing with traffic because they're still working on the highway here. Safety and security. I think this graphic says it all, don't you? Need I go on? Okay. Canada is full of violent crimes. Home invasions, car thefts, and our Prime Minister just voted against tougher sentences for repeat offenders. Now, if you commit these crimes in El Salvador, you go to jail the first time, so you cannot become a repeat offender. That's the difference between Canada and El Salvador. And you know what? That actually seems to solve the problem. I seriously think this is being done on purpose in Canada. It's like evil and diabolical, but it's what the so-called majority of people voted for, right? So I'm happy we left. So I have 2 stories to share with you about our lives in Canada. We lived outside of Smiths Falls, Ontario, in like rural Ontario. Now, Smiths Falls has a population of 9,000. Carleton Place it's another nearby town, has a population of 9,500. And then Perth has about 6,000. This little triangle, we sort of lived in the middle there. So our kids went to both school in Perth and in Smiths Falls. And they all went to go to school the last year before we left Canada. This isn't big city life. This is literally rural Ontario. But in October 2024, in Perth, Ontario, a 16-year-old trans kid killed a 15-year-old boy. Now, my son was 15 years old then. And then later on in the spring of 2025, this year, in Annika's old school in Smiths Falls, a teacher was charged with child luring. Does this disturb you as much as it disturbs me? How can people think that Canada is safe when things like this happen in the smallest of places? There are more missing people in Canada per capita than there was before Bukele cracked down on the gangs, as in when the gangs ruled this country, there were still less missing people per capita than there are in Canada right now. Let that sink in. Canada's murder rates are kept artificially low because people are classified as missing, never to be found. El Salvador, on the other hand, is very safe. Adjusting to the language. So we did have another lady reach out to us to help the kids learn Spanish. Now, with all the chaos going on in the house right now, we're not back to like a good after-school homeschool session yet, but we hope to be soon, and then we can start Spanish classes with her. Now, I've also asked my friends if their kids can spend some time here over the school summer break to kind of force my kids to speak Spanish. I too need to get back to my lessons with my online app, but we need to get a few more boxes unpacked and get settled before I can get into that routine again. I can understand a lot more than I can speak. And with all those trips to the hardware store, I had to do a whole lot of translating and listening for keywords that I understood. But, to speak is a whole lot of mental gymnastics. My brain needs to go through to conjugate the verbs in the right tense. So this last Saturday, I had my English class reading sentences to me. And then after they finished, I read the same sentences to them in Spanish. So we both got to practice a little bit. It's a process. The kids will learn much quicker than me, and I started 2 years before them, so maybe we're on par, I'm not sure. My kids are almost done school now, just 6 more weeks left, and then they have their summer break, and I'm not sure if they'll need to do some summer school. I know Lawrence has dipped down below a passing grade on one of his classes, or if they need to redo the grade, I don't know. But I'm sure we'll find out soon. School isn't as important as it was when I grew up. I think we all know overly educated people with a very specific university degree struggling to find a job, and they have over $100,000 in student debt, right? I don't think that is necessary. We actually hope to build a business here that our children will eventually take over. So we're not looking for them to necessarily go to university right now, unless they want to do something specialty. Like Annika did want to be a vet until she saw at Chivo Pets the cats get blood getting drawn. Then she changed her mind, but she might change it back. I don't know. We just hope that this year that they would make friends, learn some Spanish, and next year I'm sure they'll do much better. Infrastructure and utilities. Now, the amount of change happening here is fantastic. This Los Chorros highway is progressing well, and Super China just opened up a shop nearly across the highway directly from us. There are markets being rebuilt, even the one here in Lourdes. The new part of the Rosales Hospital will be opening up soon. There is this 2 schools a day project ongoing. There's just so much happening in El Salvador. And there's all these different communities being built as well. This place is really on the move. We have no issues with stable electricity, internet, and our town or community water is available 3 times a week in our community. Everyone here has a cistern and a pressure tank and pump for the days that we do not have the ANDA community water in our complex. So we're never without any running water here. Now, there were some issues near Santa Tecla, Mexicanos. Some residents said that the water main had broke and they didn't have water for a few days. But I think it's been resolved, and that can happen anywhere. It didn't affect us here in Lourdes. So not everywhere in El Salvador has ANDA water, or like community water we call it. It's just like Canada. Some people don't have the town water, so they have to have a well instead. Where we were in rural Ontario, we also had a well, so it's the same here. Reflecting on the journey, I truly cannot believe a whole year and then some has gone by. I know that as we age, we feel that time goes by faster and faster, like a bit of a whirlwind. Actually, if you made it to this part of the video, I'm going to quiz you. I told you I just had a birthday. If you don't know how old I am from other videos, how old do you think I am? If you look at me, put a guess in the comments. I'm really curious about this because my kids in my English class had some very interesting thoughts of how old I was. So I'm just curious. Okay, getting back to the video. So 1 year of adjusting to a new country, language, culture, environment, lifestyle, and community has been amazing and worth it. I know there are a lot of people out there right now watching this video and imagining it is them moving to El Salvador. And maybe they're like us and they don't speak the language also. I want to assure you, you can do it. And there are even more people out there watching who are from here and they desperately want to come back to their home country, their roots. Do it. It is 100% worth it. Maybe 150% worth it. And make sure that you come with enough capital to create a business to support yourself or a pension or remote income. Don't come here looking for a job unless it's something specialized, like if you're in the medical field or like you're going to teach English or something like that. Don't come here to take away jobs from locals. Come and build, bring the jobs. Everyone here appreciates steady work, and we all hope to build this country up. We all want to make El Salvador great again, and it happens little by little. My favorite expression is a rising tide raises all boats. And it's true. In my 1 year video, I talked about how much this year has cost us to live here. If you're excluding the shipping container, as I have no idea where that company is actually based out of, we basically put $47,000 US into the El Salvador economy from an external money source. And that is new money that's now circulating in El Salvador, giving people jobs, helping them buy the necessities of life. And if more foreigners do this, this money helps build the economy of El Salvador. And that benefits everyone here. So as I reflect on this journey, I see how great El Salvador has been to me and my family. And I hope that we too have helped El Salvador. Thank you for joining us on our journey, and I will continue doing the monthly updates each month. And if you enjoy this content, you can join our membership for like a small monthly fee, and you'll be the first to see these videos when they come out. Now, a reminder that we have the WhatsApp group for all those who just want to talk about everything about El Salvador. Just email me your WhatsApp information at youtube@haganars.com. And don't forget that we have our Monday night call at 7 p.m. El Salvador time, just to chill, hang out, answer questions you might have. The details are in the description below. Also, don't forget to hit the like and subscribe. It helps our channel reach more people on YouTube who are wanting to know what life is truly like in El Salvador. And ask us any questions you would like in the comments below. I read all of them. See you in the next one.
Don't forget to hit the like button.